No matter how you slice it, today is undoubtedly a positive step, a concession agreed to during the Trump-Kim summit. But where are we on some of the other promises that were made? Does this move with the remains move the needle on denuclearization as a whole? I spoke with Olivia Enos. She's a policy analyst for the Asian Studies Center at Heritage Foundation. A lot of people have opinions. She is skeptical. Olivia, what's the significance of the remains of these service members returning from North Korea to the U.S.?
Well, I think it's very promising that it seems like North Korea is at least being faithful to deliver some of the remains of American soldiers. These are individuals who gave the last full measure of devotion for their country. And so it's really encouraging for the families that are here who have had no closure on what happened at the end of the Korean War. And so from that perspective, this is a really positive development. But I think in the context of the broader Singapore summit, we've really seen that this was the easiest of the 4 things that North Korea agreed to during that Singapore summit. And we just have not seen forward movement at all from the Singapore summit when it comes to the ultimate goal of why we came to the negotiating table in the first place, which was to denuclearize or move the needle on denuclearization with North Korea.
While the remains returning to the U.S. are definitely beneficial, when you talk about diplomacy and to the hearts and souls of these families, we've also in the past few days heard of developments in the missile area in North Korea. So what do these 2 things, when put together, tell us?
This is a typical play out of the North Korean playbook. They come to the negotiating table, they look like they're coming in good faith, and then they end up reneging on promises on the things that really matter the most to the U.S. when it comes to dealing with North Korea. We've seen developments in their missile program over the last several weeks. We've seen really not promising signs that maybe they're even continuing their nuclear development. They said that they were shutting down the Sohae rocket missile test launching site, and it looks like that really does not matter because North Korea has moved away from using those types of missile test sites and those launch sites.
Olivia, we believe that more than the remains of 55 service members were in North Korea as of a few weeks ago. And today, there are still some left there. Do you think those will ever be returned home? Are they being held onto as a bargaining chip?
North Korea rarely returns the remains of American soldiers without having strings attached. I think that's why you continue to see North Korea holding back some of those remains year after year. They returned remains sometime prior to this. Now they're saying they're returning the 55 remains this time around. But yeah, I think they're probably holding on to those additional individuals as a bargaining chip and as a leverage.
It seems that the U.S. and North Korea do want this to move forward at the highest levels. And so North Korea, no doubt, is going to say, you've seen us break down some of our launch sites. You have seen the return of service members. We haven't been doing any more tests. Now your turn. What will the U.S. potentially have to do or give up to move this forward?
I think that the leverage that the U.S. has certainly would be to remove or at least loosen sanctions. And I think, frankly, we are not at the point where we can reduce those sanctions at all. In fact, I think that since North Korea continues to develop its missile and nuclear program, and we don't see any evidence really to the contrary, this should be a time that the Trump administration should be reiterating its maximum pressure policy and emphasizing that we're going to accept nothing less than complete verifiable, irreversible dismantlement of North Korea's nuclear program.
You heard an analyst on this show last week who knows North Korea well say, you know what, we got to take a step because that will encourage further steps. Then you hear Olivia from Heritage, which tends to lean a little more right, maybe hawkish, to say, no, hold firm, let them come to us. It's not easy to figure